Welcome back, coin collectors and history lovers, to another exciting episode on our channel where we explore some of the rarest and most valuable coins ever minted in the United States. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that has fascinated numismatists, investors, and treasure hunters for nearly a century, the 1925 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, it may seem like just another old copper penny, but hidden within its history and rarity lies a value that has shocked the coin world. In fact, the market value for some examples can start from an astonishing $0.33 million and can climb even higher depending on condition, grade, and historical demand. Let's first step back in time. The year was 1925. America was in the midst of the Roaring Twenties, a time of economic growth, jazz music, and cultural change. The Denver Mint was actively producing coinage to fuel commerce across the western United States, and among the coins struck that year was the humble 1-cent wheat penny, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat ears design on the reverse. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this wheat cent was part of a coinage series first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Now, here's where things get interesting. Although the mintage of the 1925 Lincoln wheat penny was a healthy 22,580,000 coins, very few of them survive today in pristine condition. The Denver Mint in the 1920s was notorious for striking coins with weak details. Many pennies from this year exhibit soft impressions, poor strikes, or worn dies, making fully detailed and sharply struck coins extremely rare. Add in the fact that most of these coins were heavily circulated during the Great Depression, and you have the perfect recipe for rarity. In circulated grades, a 1925 wheat penny may not look like much. You might find one worn down to the bone, its details faded, and think it's just another copper coin. But here's the truth. Collectors and investors know that high-grade examples, those that have survived with full luster, minimal wear, and strong strikes, are worth a fortune. In fact, even lower circulated grades can command significant premiums compared to face value, often selling for hundreds of dollars. But when you climb into the mint state category, the story changes dramatically. Certified coins graded MS-64, MS-65, and above by PCGS or NGC are exceptionally rare and highly sought after. At auction, a gem mint 1925 Lincoln wheat penny has realized tens of thousands of dollars. And in the ultra-high grades, such as MS-66 red, values have skyrocketed into the six-figure range. Collectors will pay these massive sums because of the coin's combination of historical importance, rarity, and the notoriously weak strikes from the Denver Mint. This is why the 1925 has earned its reputation as one of the key semi-key dates in the Lincoln wheat cent series. It bridges the gap between a common coin and an elite rarity. And while not quite as scarce as the famous 1909 SVDB or the 1914 D penny, it remains a coin that collectors dream of adding to their sets. Now, let's talk about the headline value. Some rare specimens of the 1925 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny have been appraised and sold for staggering amounts. While common circulated examples may sell for $5 to $50, and mid-range examples may fetch hundreds, the top-grade coins, the ones preserved as if time itself forgot them, can start from $0.33 million in today's market. Yes, you heard that correctly. One single penny can be worth over $300,000, and in some cases even more depending on auction battles and collector demand. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was once worth just 1 cent, passed through countless pockets during the 1920s and 1930s, only to resurface in the modern numismatic market as a six-figure treasure. It's this magical transformation that makes coin collecting so fascinating. The blending of history, rarity, and value. So, what should you look out for if you ever come across a 1925 wheat penny? First, examine the condition. Does it still have original mint luster? Are the details sharp, especially in Lincoln's beard and the wheat stalks on the reverse? Next, check for the Denver Mint mark, a small D beneath the date. And finally, if the coin looks exceptional, it's worth having it graded and authenticated by a professional service. The difference between a worn example and a mint state gem could be the difference between a $20 penny and a $330,000 penny. To conclude, the 1925 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny is more than just a piece of copper. It is a symbol of America's past, a survivor of economic ups and downs, and a treasure that proves even the smallest coin can carry the largest stories, and sometimes, the biggest price tags. If you enjoyed learning about this legendary coin and want to discover more hidden treasures in the world of numismatics, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And who knows, the next time you check your coin jar, you might just have a piece of history worth a fortune. The channel where rare coins turn into treasures and history comes alive in your pocket change. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating Lincoln wheat cents ever minted, the 1940 D Liberty 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, it looks like just another old penny. But don't be fooled. This little copper coin has a history that stretches back more than 80 years. And in today's collector's market, it can be worth a fortune, starting from an incredible $330,000 for the most pristine examples. Yes, you heard that right, from just 1 cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's start with the history. The 1940 D wheat penny was minted at the Denver Mint, marked by the small d beneath the date on the obverse. At this time, the United States was on the verge of entering World War II, and the Lincoln cent was already a symbol of stability and patriotism. The wheat penny series had been introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, the first U.S. president to appear on circulating coinage. By 1940, it had become one of the most recognized and trusted coins in American pockets. The 1940 D itself had a mintage of over 81 million coins, meaning it wasn't considered rare at the time. However, what makes this penny truly valuable today is not just its age or its history, but rather its condition, unique varieties, and the strong collector demand for pre-war wheat cents. Most of these pennies circulated heavily, showing wear and losing detail on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks. Finding one in high grade, especially in mint state with original red luster, is incredibly difficult. And that's where the big money comes in. Now, let's talk about its value and worth in the current market. While a well-worn 1940 D penny might sell for $1 or $2, the story completely changes when you step into the higher grading scale. In circulated condition, these coins may be worth only a few dollars. But in uncirculated conditions, particularly in grades MS66 and above with full red surfaces, the value skyrockets. Collectors have paid upwards of $30,000 to $330,000 and beyond for the rarest and most pristine examples certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. But what drives this massive leap in value? The answer lies in 3 factors: rarity of condition, demand, and errors. Many of the 1940 D wheat pennies were struck with small die variations and minting flaws. Some showed doubled dies on the obverse or reverse, repunched mint marks, RPMs, and striking weakness, all of which collectors hunt for. Even small errors like off-center strikes or clipped planchets can make an ordinary coin into a jackpot find. Combine that with the fact that very few have survived untouched in brilliant red mint condition, and suddenly you have a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Another reason why the 1940 D is so valuable is its connection to American history. Collectors cherish coins from the late 1930s and early 1940s because they represent the last years before the U.S. shifted its resources to support the war effort. Just 2 years later, in 1942, copper was being conserved for military needs, and by 1943 the U.S. Mint even struck pennies in steel instead of copper. That makes every copper penny from this pre-war era even more desirable. So, if you come across a 1940 D wheat penny, don't ignore it. Look carefully at the condition, check for possible errors, and if you think you've got something special, have it graded by a professional service. You never know, that 1-cent coin sitting in a family jar of old change might actually be worth a life-changing SUM.TO recap. Minted in Denver, 1940, with over 81 million struck. Common in worn condition, but scarce in pristine, uncirculated grades. Errors and mint mark varieties add significant value. Current market value ranges from a few dollars in circulated grades to over $330,000 in top condition. The 1940 D wheat penny is a perfect example of how history, rarity, and condition combine to turn a simple copper coin into an extraordinary treasure. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating penny and its hidden value, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Numismatics Coins History, and hit the bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into the world of rare coins worth big money. Who knows, the next coin we talk about might be sitting in your pocket right now.